Hello, hello. May peace and blessings be with you, everyone. It is my pleasure to be hosting my beloved Shahida Mehmood from Elite
You
Youth
touch.
Edge. And we're going to have a pretty fun conversation today. Before we begin, before we dive into that, I just want to share a little fun story. So we call each other that we are twins, right? And there's always a battle, like who is the better version? I always think she's the better version and she thinks I'm the better version. So we haven't quite decided yet, but we do call ourselves twin sisters from different mothers, of course. Okay, so Shaida, welcome. It is such a pleasure to have you with us today. Would you like to share a little bit about yourself? Because I would really love to know who Shahida is outside of the titles, outside of the roles, even outside of Elite Youth Edge. Who is Shahida?
Well, thank you so much for having me. First and foremost, you know you're the better version, and I'm just trying to follow the footsteps. Well, who am I? I guess I'm multifaceted, uh, entrepreneurial, spirited human being. I try to do multiple things all at once, and once I step into one thing, I feel like the other one needs more attention. So it's like I'm a mother at core, if that makes sense.
Mother at Court totally makes sense. You're also a connector. And when you say multifaceted, I totally see that and believe that. I see that at any given time, you could be engaged in something while thinking about something else, while also, trying to help somebody else along the way. So it is so amazing and beautiful. And I just find myself to be so lucky to have you as a friend and now also collaborating with you on this business adventure and all these fun entrepreneurial things that we're doing together. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. Shaida, was there a moment where you wished that someone had helped you find your edge?
Absolutely. There were actually quite a few moments, but one that has been defining moment for me was when I had to drop out from medical school. Actually, I was in medical school in Caribbean in 2005, 2006. And then things changed and I was not able to get the funding, and then I had to come back, and then I had to work two jobs to kind of like save up. But then things didn't go according to the plan. Then here I am, like 20, almost 20 years later, looking at what my journey could have been and what it is, and just like excited to be unfolding the next chapter in my life.
Love it. Shaida, what has been the best and the worst advice you've ever received?
The best advice definitely has been like, don't look back, keep moving forward. And like, I'm sure you have heard this story. Like, there's this father and his daughter. They were driving through the storm, and father said, "Just keep driving, even at slow speed, but keeps driving." And the little girl, sees all the trucks pulled over, and all the cars pulled over, and Dad, those big trucks are pulled over, and you're telling me to keep going. And Dad says, "Well, if you keep going, you'll be out of storm sooner." So sometimes life can be more stormy, but if you keep going, you'll leave the storm behind and you will find your shining star and sunny days ahead.
Absolutely. Now you also get to tell me what's the worst advice you've ever received.
Don't tell anybody. Hide back. Don't do it. Right now is not the right time to do it. And just like waiting for that perfect time, and that perfect time is never gonna happen. I waited for long enough, and finally now is the time. Like, when I'm doing everything else, on top of that, this has come in my way, and I am just excited about the whole new chapter.
Mhm. Shada, is there a time when that really hit hard when somebody said that? Like, don't do that or um, don't do this at this time? Is there a situation that's coming to mind?
Absolutely, especially like 18 years ago when I got married, the only people that I like, talked to were like few of my friends, and all of them told me not to get married. Not a good idea. Give it another year. But no, it had to happen at that time. I feel like, God has his timing, and when his timing is on, you don't hear nothing, you don't see nothing, your blinders are on, and you just head on.
Mhm. I remember when I was expecting with my older son, with my first one, everybody in my friend circle, extended family suggested that I stay home after he's born. And a part of me also really wanted to do that. But the bigger part of me wanted to go back to work because I felt I was not yet comfortable with my own parenting skills, right? As a new parent and first time parent and all that, right? So I feel like we were the first ones who really sent our children to daycare, especially full-time daycare.
Hmm.
And since then, many family members after us have done it. And it is such a beautiful thing that when we're trying something new, the path doesn't exist, right? If we have to be the trailblazer, we have to go through that pain to pave that path for other people sometimes. So I almost feel like, when those hurdles or those challenges come our way, that's an opportunity to say, how can we change that? How can we make it happen?
Absolutely. You have to be courageous enough to start that path. And I have done that quite a few times in my journey. And looking back, like at that time, maybe I was young and foolish enough not to know what I was doing. But now when I look back, it is definitely a milestone and stepping stone for a lot of things that followed.
Hmm. Yeah. And all the ups and downs that come with it, they are all welcome.
Absolutely.
Okay, Shaida, talk to me. What does identity mean to you, and why is it foundational, especially for the youth?
Basically, identity means to me is like who you are at your core. What is it that you love doing, even nobody else approves of it? As long as it's the right thing to do and you feel comfortable in your skin doing it, and you do it enough to make a difference. Because anything historically, if you look at it, almost started accidentally, and they didn't mean to invent those things that got invented. Like, I'm a reader at heart, so I was reading a story, like, yesterday, and then they were talking about, like, back in days those pictures were taken, and then they were supposed to be taken to the black rooms and get developed. And then the photographer's daughter asked his father, why can't you develop it right away? And father worked on it, and he was able to take the picture and develop it right there. And a lot of times, like, those questions that come from the kids and parents take him seriously, they come up with a new discovery. And then the whole world finds out about it, and they were like, wow.
Yeah, it's just fascinating working with young minds for sure because they have not yet been tainted or conditioned with all of the what you should do and what is acceptable and all of that yet. So they definitely are so creative. I know that I sometimes talk about Russell Brunson. He always talks about having young people on his team because they always like bring new creative ideas and things like that. They think outside the box, and I just find it very energizing to be surrounded by that. So I feel the sooner we get to know and learn who we are, I feel that the better we're able to serve the world. But I also know that as we're doing that, as we're embracing who we are, we're also growing, right? We're also changing, we're also transforming at the same time. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that kind of becomes part of our identity, or it's like an ever moving target, I feel like, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Shada, what is something that you absolutely love doing in terms of growth? What you talked about reading a few minutes ago. What else?
Actually, you know what? I am a kid at heart. I love hanging out with the kids, doing anything that kids are doing. I feel like, that keeps you young, keeps you energized, keeps you moving. And I just like, one thing, if I could do 24/7, I would hang out with young kids and just like, walk their walk and talk their talk, and then step forward from there onwards.
Hmm. Yeah, love it. Okay. Shada, tell me, how do you redefine discipline in a way that it feels empowering and not restricting?
Okay, discipline basically is like, one step at a time and break it down in smaller steps. Pretty much like, how uh, James Clear talks about, like, atomic habits. So if you talk about atomic habits, atom at itself, like, getting 1% better every day. So basically, doing something on regular basis that you love doing, but without the constraint that, you have to do it in that time frame, in that window. As long as you're doing it on daily basis and on your own timings, for me, that's discipline.
Hmm. I love it. Do you, I almost want to ask you, do you see people around you like following that, or do you see more people not following that?
The rigid one, I think there are very few people who follow it, like maybe 5 or 10% of the population. But 90% of the population is more like they do things on regular basis, especially like, us being Muslims. I feel like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already created that discipline for us, 5 prayers in a day at 5 different timings. That is discipline in itself, and something that I have been practicing ever since I was a child, like, early morning with the Fajr prayer, reciting the Quran. And that has always been my practice. And when I don't do it, I feel like, big piece of my life is missing. And then, like, story time at bedtime, and then other things like, cooking, cleaning, and once a week you do your grocery shopping. That is part of discipline. But a lot of times we don't look at it from that lens.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like if we miss our window on Sundays where we're planning for the week, we're like so wobbly all week long, like everybody's kind of out of sorts because um so much depends on that, right? So much rides on that. Not having like a meal plan and figuring out who's going where, who's transporting children and what sports are happening and all of that. So we spend about, I want to say, like 15-20 minutes every Sunday just mapping out the plan of action for everybody in the household. And then my husband and I, we have been going out grocery shopping together. Previously, he was doing it on his own, but lately we've been going together, and that is super helpful because then I know exactly what we have. So that I feel like is also adding even more to the peace and the discipline in our household.
Absolutely. And it creates like a little tradition for the family.
Yeah.
And I used to have a friend, actually, she moved out of town, but we used to go. That was one thing that I dreaded, like grocery shopping, going by myself, especially in winter.
Hmm.
And her and I would go, and then we would like stop by for like a coffee or soup or something. And then it became our little tradition. And so it actually, grocery shopping became our sort of like, me time
Hmm.
for the week.
Yeah, that's what we find sometimes too. That's our time away from all the other distractions, even though we're getting stuff done, but it's just so nice to get away. Shada, tell me, what problem led you to create Elite Youth Edge?
All right, Elite Youth Edge is like, basically I'm creating an ecosystem for the young minds. And but when I was younger and when I needed help, I didn't know how to ask for help. And I didn't even know, let alone like back then, Google and ChatGPT were not as active as they are today. Like back then, we had to go to somebody, and we didn't have that many trusted adults. And a lot of times, like, we do have a lot of trusted adults in our community, but the first people we go to are our parents. And a lot of times, our parents are not equipped with the stuff that we're looking for. So they might know somebody. So, like, seeing youth in our community, basically, like, there are a bunch of areas that need improvement and they need guidelines. And I know a lot of friends who work in different fields. And if we can just like connect that bridge, hey, you want to become that? I know somebody. Why don't you go shadow them? and see for yourself if that is the right fit for you. Because, growing up, when I was in college, I think I took a lot of credit that went towards nothing. It was energy wasted, time wasted, and then, like, on top of that, money wasted. So I just wanna, like, I really feel for the young kids whose parents didn't go to college here, or who don't have, like, quote unquote fixed path that their children want to follow. So they need somebody who can guide them through. And my goal with elite youth system is like creating that ecosystem where, like, people like you who are coaches, who are already working with the women, and their mothers can come talk to you,
Mhm.
and the kids can come talk to me, and then we have our own tribe. And
Mhm.
it's not just Muslim youth, but all the youth in state of Delaware.
Okay, awesome. And Shada, just talk a little bit more about like what type of programs they can expect. Like, what are you planning on building?
Actually, you know what? Right now we have two different programs. I want to say, like, we started this journey about 2.5 years ago when my son was in one of the coding program, and he reached the level where he was not being challenged. So that's where me and my husband started our journey. We started looking into after school enrichment programs, and
Okay.
we checked out a bunch of traditional ones, but we couldn't really quite find one that would connect soft skills and today's technology and all that. So after a year and a half, we came across iCode, which is one of the franchises down in Texas. And then over the summer, we took our kids down to Texas for a week, enrolled them in one of the summer programs. And once they approved the program, then we actually signed up for the franchisee.
Mm.
And we are in a process of opening that. And we're going to have our first campus in state of Delaware in Fox Run Plaza, Bear, Delaware. And once, like, that is the group that's going to like, that program is going to cater kids between the age of 5 to 15.
Okay.
And then while we were on that journey, I thought about, like, what about 15 to 25 years old? Some of them are in high school, they're working part-time, and they don't want to go to college, but what options do they have? So then I thought about Elite Youth Edge, where, like, we will have that campus where, during the day we can meet up and then talk about what their goals and aspirations are, and what is it they want to work on, and then create their program from there on. So basically, like, four things that I want to focus on is, like, first thing is their identity, second is their discipline, and the third is leadership, how they lead themselves. Leadership, a lot of times, like, when we talk about leadership, people think that you're leading other people's, but it's more than leading others, leading your own self on the journey that's going to follow you and your next generations to come.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final fourth step would be the project based learning, where, like, we come up with the idea, and, like, whatever their ideas are, we work through their identity. If their self-worth is worked on, then the rest is easy. So that's my goal with Elite Youth Edge.
Inshallah, that sounds amazing. It's just so spot on, and I'm just so excited for you. Like every time you share something with me about the program, I just get all lit up because working with young people is also something that is very energizing to me. Also, I created like one program once upon a time. I haven't been doing a whole lot with the youth lately. I am really focusing on women and getting their startups going and all that, but later on I totally see that even as a collaboration that we work together as well in that. So it's really really cool, really great idea. I'm just like so happy, so excited for you. um
Thank you.
Shada, I want to ask you, so I know I just want everybody to kind of know this too, that you have recently joined my One Tech Premium Plus program. I want to know from your experience, what has it been like? How has that program helped you in your vision for Elite Youth Edge? And I also want to know what breakthroughs you've had, if any, so far being in the program.
Absolutely. Actually, you know what? prior to joining your program, I have joined multiple other programs where, like, they hand you the course that here's your do it yourself sort of a framework, and then you're kind of teaching yourself. What's cool about your program is, like, tech part was like, even though I work in technology, but sometimes that tech gets ahead of me. And, like, you breaking it down and then putting it basically under one roof, where, like, you have your technology part taken care of, you're teaching us tools, and then you have framework how to create our own program. So it has been like, it gave me a lot of clarity, because what I'm talking about today, Elite Youth Edge, this has been my dream ever since I was a child myself. And for last basically for last 20, 25 years, I want to say, like, I sat on this idea, and I couldn't find anybody who could understand my like mindset and provide me with the framework. So it has been life changing, even though, like, I'm working full time, I'm working on my book, writing my book at that same time, and then working on this. But every single time, like, when we do those masterminds on Monday to Friday, nobody in industry provides that, where they hold your hand and walk you through the process, and then, like, learning from other people in that program. And it just has been, like, mind blowing for me. And even I didn't think I had the time to do it, like, having 3 kids, 2 businesses, a full-time job, and, starting a new program for the youth was not something that I would have thought about it. But when I spoke to you around Thanksgiving time, and you had a special going on, I knew I had to jump on. Even if I do, like, what people accomplish in a month, it might take me 3 months, but I'm working. I'm moving one step forward. So anybody who's sitting on sidelines and they think that, they're gonna get to it one day, that one day might just pass you by. So just step on it and let Timmy walk you through. She knows what like. She knows her stuff inside out. And for me, it has been life changing, and I'm greatly appreciative of all that you do for everybody.
Shada, I'm so grateful for your kind words and sharing your experience. And you know that my program also came from my own pain points, right? Like my own struggles. When one day I was sitting down and I was like, no one, I've also hired many, many coaches, and I've learned a lot from different coaches in different areas and things like that. But not one person said, what is it that you want to build, right? What is it that you want to bring to life in this world? And let's sit down together and build it. And after I had a really bad cry about it and all that, I sat there, I wiped my tears, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am to create that program. Like, I am to create that program for other people, right? So, literally, that's how that happened. And when you say like 5 days a week masterminding, I know that it's unheard of. So,
Mm-hmm.
not only like mastermind, then we also do a session with the tech where you're in the driver's seat with the help of my team to get the stuff done. It's very strategically and intentionally designed like that so that we take action. And one other thing that I think, because of doing this over and over with multiple clients for a while, I basically have figured out the process that we all have to go through to build that infrastructure that you're going to need to run your business on, right? So even though you feel that, it may take you a little bit longer than other people or other peers in the group, but I commend you for your consistency and your courage and just getting in there every day and giving it a try, right? Because every little bit counts, every little bit helps. And sometimes it takes like 2, 3 times seeing it and doing it to really for it to click. Even people who are doing this full time, right? Even for them, it takes a while for this, all of this, like how everything like fits together and all that. But just the fact that you signed up, you committed yourself to it, you're like, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna do this, it's just fantastic. I feel that success is inevitable. There's like no way that you're going to fail because you're like, I am there to figure out what I need to do and I'm going to go do it. And if I get stuck, I know I have help. So I feel like, why would it not be successful?
Absolutely. Your pen has served so many of us. If it wasn't for the pen points, you wouldn't have probably come up with the process that you came up with. and that is unmatched. And I have, like, I am someone who really invests in my herself, and I have invested in myself ever since I left med school. Because I thought when I left med school, I thought my life is over. Little that I knew it's gonna start all over again. So, like, every time I get stuck, and I like to read, but, like, a lot of times when you're reading like 10 different books just to get one program going, you gotta read multiple books, and everybody has their own mind. Those are all brilliant ideas, but how are you going to package them? So your pen served well, and it packaged the deal that is unmatched. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much.
And I just feel so grateful that we have such a beautiful community. And it's not even just like me sharing, right? Like it's not even just like me talking. We're literally masterminding with each other. If I say something that everybody else shares their ideas around that topic too, it's so brilliant. I'm like, oh my gosh, every day. And we're sharing wins. And, it's just, I feel very blessed that we get to do this together. Shaida, I know you touched on when you were little and your childhood and all that. I want you to go back, take us back to your childhood, and I want us to share one of your happiest memories from your childhood. What would that be?
Wow. My childhood was actually very magical. I grew up in three different continents, basically. So, very first one is from Azad Kashmir. That's where I am from. It's a northern part of Pakistan. So, we had our own herd. We had like, I think, 10 or 12 goats, and spent, like, spending time with those goats, running around, and then like feeding them, taking them places. So I'm like, being a shepherd, and you didn't have to be a boy to be a shepherd. A girl shepherd can totally rock a different game. So from early on, I knew I was meant for something bigger.
Did you truly, truly enjoy that time?
Absolutely. You know what? That was definitely magical, but it was also very challenging at the same time, because kids from our village did not always go to school. We only have one school in three villages, and there was only one teacher who taught from all the way kindergarten to the fifth grade. And she had a brilliant system in place, like, every grade she would teach one child and have that child take over the whole class. And she taught five classes while raising her own kids. So I mean, like, resilience like that, seeing firsthand, was amazing. I don't think you would meet anybody who had a teacher who taught five grades. And then I had only elementary school from Kashmir. And
Mhm.
then my middle school was from Pakistan. And it was a different, totally different world. And then my high school is from here, New Jersey. So yeah, I think I had a best of both worlds.
Wow. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Shaida, if you could speak directly to a young person who feels lost right now, what would you want them to hear?
You matter. You're being put on this planet for a reason. That reason you might not know yet. But when you look back at yourself like 5 or 10 years from now, you will see that clearly, because looking back, you can always connect the dots. But looking forward, it's usually very muggy and very dark. And if you don't have anybody, please go to the library, pick a book that speaks to you.
Mhm. The best is yet to come. I keep saying that.
Yes,
The best is yet to come. Shaida, it's tradition to do a round of rapid fire questions. Are you ready for that?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, I want to hear some fun adventures and things like that over here. I'll give you a few easy ones. Okay, are you an early riser or a night owl?
I'm definitely an early riser.
Okay, are you a coffee lover or a tea lover?
Oh, both. Depends
Okay,
on my company.
okay. What do you go for?
I usually, if I'm by myself, I usually go for coffee.
Okay,
But like, traditionally, if I have all my traditional friends, we go for chai. And then if I have like, I have multinational friends, a lot of diversity, green tea, kavas. So any sort of tea, like, it's I think it's a connection.
mm-hmm.
First
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I absolutely love actually those videos of tea, like especially like Pakistani chai, all the
Uh,
videos with that and everything. I love it. I'm like, that's so me.
yep.
Okay. Shaida, do you lean more towards being an introvert or an extrovert?
No, I'm definitely an extrovert.
Okay. Are you a planner or are you spontaneous?
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous who loves the idea of planning. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Planning always comes later. Oh, I could have done that. Okay, it's already over. Well, my husband's a planner. He does not budge unless things are planned on his planner. So I guess, like, that makes two of us.
Yes, that's how the universe stays balanced.
Yep.
Okay. Favorite vacation, beach or mountains?
Mountains for sure.
Okay. You're like born in Kashmir, growing up there. Of course, I love the mountains. I am very torn every time I'm asked that question because I so like feel myself like really at home in both. If I don't go to the beach for a couple of years, I like miss it so much. If I don't go get to see the mountains and the greenery and the beauty and all of that, I miss that so much too. So we try to alternate between our vacations.
Yeah, I mean, like, I used to like beach, but the idea of sand and cleaning the car afterwards, not so tempting.
Mhm. Yeah,
But I definitely love the mountains.
mountains. Yeah, that's awesome. What's one of your favorite books?
Ooh, that's a hard one because I had quite a few. And this has become my new favorite. And I just got that as a gift. So ask
Hmm.
this one.
Okay.
This is my favorite now because, a lot of times it's not that we don't get things, we don't know how to ask for the things.
Mhm.
And learning from this book, I wish I had read that when I was like 20 years ago.
Yep. So see that. So many people need to hear that, and a lot sooner. I feel like. Okay. Who has been a great influential role model for you?
You know what? I didn't really have anybody in my life per se, one person, but like, watching Zavia, Ashfaq Ahmed and Banu Kusia from Pakistan, they were both wonderful writers. And I feel like, my very first book when I was in ninth grade, I read Raja Gid, which sort of like, explained the concept of halal and haram. And that has served me really well. Like, even though back then I didn't know what I was reading, but pieces of that stick to me. And that has become my lifesaver. So, yeah, I think they were my uh, inspiration to sort of like, learn from them. I guess books have been my companions forever.
Yeah, love it. I feel like can't go wrong. Can't go wrong once you have that, right?
No, because we were like in the time I was born, there were not much of libraries where I was from,
Mhm.
and growing up, I spent a good chunk of my time with my grandmother, so she has been very inspirational for me. But then, her like one of my dad's aunt, she used to come and visit us during the winter time, and she would tell us like nighttime stories. She would only tell the stories that she had eyewitnessed or
Mm.
she had experienced, and those stories were like life changing as well.
Yeah, I feel like that was the best time.
Oh
Anytime
yeah,
you got a
magical.
chance to hear those firsthand from people. Shaida, it's going to be a pretty fun question. Share an embarrassing professional moment with us.
Ooh, I had so many. Okay, for the very first time when I was working at the office and we got those like, office chairs where you can wheel off. And me and one of my coworkers we were wheeling off, so I flew off the chair and landed on the floor.
Oh my goodness. Um, I hope you didn't get hurt.
Oh yeah, back then I was young and strong, so I don't know if I would do that anymore, but yeah.
So funny. One time, we had gone to a conference and we had carpooled, my colleagues and I. And when we got back to the office, it was like, time to go home. So instead of like coming into the building, I was just like, just drop me off like by the parking lot. I'm just going to get in my car and I'm going to go home. They dropped me off, and rather than going on the sidewalk to go to my car, I tried to go through the, what do you call it, like mulch and stuff
Oh,
in the, on the sides, and my heels got stuck and I fell
oh
like
no.
2 feet away from my car. And the first thing I do is I get up and I'm like, did anybody see me? Because I was so embarrassed. I was like, this is so bad. So the next day I told them, I'm like, oh, by the way, like after they dropped me off, I fell,
Oh
and they're like,
no.
oh my gosh, you should have called us and we would have come back. And I was like, no, like I was so embarrassed, all I wanted to just get up and get in the car. And then they're like, we're gonna pull like security footage from the building, from the parking lot. Ah,
Go viral.
too funny. Too
Yeah.
much. Okay. Shahida, anything else you would like to say to our listeners, to our viewers who might be watching the replay?
Absolutely. One thing, if you're someone who is thinking about building something or who is thinking about creating some sort of business or side idea, please get in touch with Timmy. She knows what she's talking about. I was actually part of the program 2 years ago when I got my first job, and then I got busy. And at that time, like, looking back, I wish I stayed. And now, like, when I came back, I'm staying no matter what else keeps me busy. Even like, little progress is still progress. And if you don't build on your dreams, somebody's going to hire to build theirs. So you choose you.
Absolutely. Shahida, I love, love, love you. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I wish you all the best, and I can't wait to see you on Monday with a new mastermind.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.